would beat me every day, multiple times a day. I remember like just fearing for my life. Like I would freeze up, and next thing you know, I'm seeing stars.
From the age of 5, Johnny Chang suffered physical abuse from his father. The beatings became a source of anger and led to fighting with his peers.
I was just very like filled with rage. I would just see red and then I would come to like, oh snap, you know, I either have like something in my hand or like person's on the floor or like we're just like bloody, everyone's bloody. Like it was really bad.
Johnny grew up in East LA in the housing projects. By age 12, he joined a gang.
Seeing the gang members, even the Asian gang members with money, they had cars, clothes, notoriety. There was just some kind of like pull. And on top of that, I noticed they were very tight-knit. They were very family-oriented.
Feeling at home with his new gang family, Johnny began committing violent crimes. At 12 years old, Johnny was sent to a juvenile detention center for the worst of the worst. Over his 4 years there, he witnessed sexual assault, was in more than 40 fights, and became even more hardened.
When I saw that, I was like, you know what? Even if I die, like I'm not gonna let these people step on me.
At 16, he was released. As a 17-year-old, Johnny was tried as an adult and sent to federal prison for assault with a deadly weapon. He knew being locked up in the penitentiary was another level.
I was scared. You're now in there with people who are like, you know, adults, and they're crazy, you know, they'll kill you.
He served 8.5 years of his 10-year sentence and wondered what real life looked like on the outside.
I just felt this uncertainty. I had seen people who had completely been rehabilitated in prison, and they say, I'm never gonna come back here, but 6 months later, they're back. Like it's not hard to come back, you know, it's very hard to stay out. So it's like I was just existing at that time, and I felt a lot of like emptiness inside of my heart.
Johnny tried living a normal life.
I applied to like a lot of places and nobody called me back. So at that point, I really felt like a rage again and anger. And I'm like, okay, if you're not gonna give me a chance, then I'm gonna just go and live the way that I know.
Back on the streets, he was making $30,000 to $40,000 a month selling drugs. For Johnny, it wasn't enough.
Still felt that emptiness, still felt that void, which was like blew my mind, you know. I thought if I made some money, I'll be okay, you know.
During a robbery attempt of a rival drug dealer, Johnny's fellow gang member was shot. A few days later, another friend was killed.
So it's just like death all around me, and I really started to think for like I never really thought about death because I was so caught up in the moment.
His mother, who became a Christian while he was incarcerated, asked Johnny for a ride to church.
The pastor's like, hey Johnny, heard a lot about you, you know, glad that you're home. Your mom has kind of talked about you a little bit, but you know, would you like to have some black bean noodles? And that's actually my favorite, you know, it's like my favorite dish. So I just parked the car, went inside, ate the black bean noodles. It was really, really delicious. And he starts to kind of ask me some questions.
The pastor shared the good news of Jesus with Johnny and spoke very directly about his need for a savior.
And he talked about emptiness, void, you know, this feeling that I felt. It was as if he was like dissecting my heart and giving me the antidote. It's almost like a light bulb clicked and it turned on.
Johnny gave his life to Christ and noticed a complete change in his life and in his heart. A friend told Johnny the change is clear.
He told me, he's like, you know, it's obvious that you're so peaceful. Like you're not what you used to be. You know, he's like, I could see that like emanating out of you.
He has since reconciled with his father, who has also become a Christian. Today, he's podcasting and ministering in prisons.
I think God has really led my life to put me in a position of being like in the bottom of the bottom, right? The lowest of the lows, going to prison and just drug everything, gangbang and everything. And I feel like God did that so I could understand people's hearts, like different levels. You know, not everyone's been to prison, but we're all interconnected by sin and struggle. There is hope, but it's not in this world. It's not in money. It's not in fame. It's actually in God alone. And that's just what I'm here to do, is to shed light on that.